Hey everybody, what's going on? Good morning, good evening, depending on where you are, good everything. What's up, y'all? Hey, welcome to a brand new show of the Daily Mind podcast. Back again on this third episode of the brand new season. As you can see in the background, I'm back home. No surprise there. Vacation came to an end. We landed a couple of days ago, but we finally got home yesterday or last night, rather. Pretty smooth trip, no jet lag, right? Everything seemed to have lined up perfectly with the flights coming back. Didn't even have any jet lag or anything like that, so that's pretty cool. But anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. It is Sunday noon, pretty much morning still here. It's 11:33 in the morning, which for you guys, it's still Saturday evening. So I have to get back to this whole time zone shit again. But I had a lot of fun out there. I was out there once again. I was out there for 3 weeks. Um, did some shows out there. The shows I did out there were pretty fun, especially with the Rainbow Bagel Pit and stuff like that. You guys were getting on me about the Rainbow Bagel. I thought that was pretty fun. But those shows came out really, really good. And I got Skinless Chicken Nugget. I got some family in the house. I got Thomas. What's going on, Thomas? Skinless Chicken Nugget, my executive producer and co-host, has entered the chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Skillers, you said when you said, "quote My mind ain't in Korea anymore." I felt that. I'll be over that place already too. Truth be told, I'm done. How can I say this without sounding too crazy, right? It's not the country, right? It's always to me the place of work, and the place of work has turned Korea off for me really quickly. I think by the seventh or eighth month that I was here, I said to myself, I told my wife, I was like, I don't think I'm extending out here. And plus, knowing my track record of places I've been to, I am not the type of person to stay in one place too long. If I have an opportunity to go somewhere else, I'm going somewhere else. I never extended anywhere I've been. And you asked me on a scale of 1 to 10 skinless, I'd say a 5. It's actually, to me, worse than where I just left. But the thing is about this place, I have more family time. Our days aren't really spent staying for excruciating amounts of time. So I have a little bit more family time. I have a lot more family time if you think about it here. I say it's a little bit worse. I know. And then, I have always heard it in the military, that you think when the last place is worse, it's not. And then you wish you were back at the last place. At least I would say Campbell, I had some fulfilling people and we had some fulfilling adventures. That is what I miss the most. You know what I mean? Here, I just can't get that same camaraderie, right? I feel like almost at times an outcast being in this unit. It's crazy. Got my sister-in-law, Nana, in the house. Hey, Nana, what's going on? Got your sister out back here behind me watching NCIS Origins. Her with her shows, which is not bad show, by the way. But no, seriously, when it comes to where I'm at now, I don't know. It just makes the experience so crazy. Like, there's nothing wrong with Korea. I'm very blessed to be out here. I've always wanted to go to Asia. But like I said, sometimes it don't even be the place where you live at. It just be your workplace that kind of really throws shit off. So when it's time to leave, yeah, it's gonna be somewhat bittersweet. But it's time to move on to another place. I'm not the type of person to stay in one spot anyway. You said, I quote, Skilly said, "I hate to be out there and have nobody. At least you got your wife." Well, I was almost out here by myself for 1 year. They were gonna send me up north a little bit further, and that was a hardship assignment where I would just have to been there for 1 year and be done. Had I had that option still, I would have already been back. I would have already been done with that 1 year by last month. I would have been finished.
You're blaming me?
No, I'm not blaming you, but when they changed my location here, that gave the opportunity for you to come. Nobody said you had to, but you chose to. So that's why I'm here. Other than that, I would have done the 1 year and been done with it. But I asked her too, hey, there's a spot where I could bring you along. Do you want to come? She left her job and everything for it. I didn't. She had an option, all right? She chose to come with me. She chose to come with me. That's just what it is. You said Skillins probably would have taken that offer now. Well, it's a little too late. But the 1 year would have breezed by because our 1 year here alone was quick. Like, we're already almost done with this shit. And where I was, if I had gone there, she would have not been able to visit. No, the only way she would have been able to visit would have to be in Seoul, because Camp Casey Families, I guess, are not allowed up there. So I would have to meet her in Seoul for the weekend or the week or however long possible. And that would have been that. But I love Korea. Don't get me wrong. I can adapt to virtually anywhere, but it's my place of work that's just not quite doing it for me. But in any case, I'm gonna enjoy the rest of this year as much as possible. I'm not gonna let the adversity or whatever get to me. I'm going to enjoy this time so that way I'm just ready to go. But other than that, my day started off pretty good. We went to the supermarket. The most exciting part, and this is how you know you're getting old, okay? We thought that the supermarket, the commissary, was going to open at 8 o'clock. It opens at 10 on Sundays. We went and got breakfast, and then we sat and waited in front of the commissary like an old couple. And we literally was there with our carts waiting for the fucking door to be unlocked, and it was unlocked. I told her, I was like, you know we're getting old. We're literally waiting in front of the commissary for this shit to open up at 10 o'clock, like a couple of old heads waiting for a fucking Kohl's to open up or Black Friday doors to open up. Now, Skilly said, y'all walk in 1 minute after 10, those people. You know, we never done that before, but we figured instead of going back inside, let's just wait outside. Let's go get breakfast and let's go wait outside. Because it made no sense to go back. Because if I went back home, I was not coming back out. I was not. I was just like, no. But we did. We waited outside. They opened the doors. We were the first ones in. First time we ever did that, I was like, yo, we are getting fucking old. I can't believe this is the most exciting part of my day. It is, apparently. But no, we got some stuff came back. Now, Skilly, you said, how long should you wait after open time? I usually wait like 10, 15 minutes. Okay. So if the store opens up at 10, I'd say that's about a good amount of time. Because, you know, as much as they greet you, they're annoyed at you. And I know this because when I used to work at Kohl's, and we used to open up for the morning, and you see the elderly people out there just waiting. And that used to irk the fuck out of me because I used to get in a half hour before closing. And I'm like, what the fuck are you people doing here this early? Like, it is early as shit. Do you literally set an alarm to come to Kohl's before opening? It annoyed me.
I set the alarm all the time for Black Friday.
I don't even do Black Friday like that anymore. That shit's ridiculous too.
Loser.
It's because I'm black, so you're being kind of racist on here. That's all right.
But it's okay, because it's you black.
I ain't that black. All right, but look.
You match your if you stood in Florida any longer, you would have been matching your headphones.
That's bullshit. No, you're right. Black Friday is not the same. It used to be fun back in the day when like people got into fights at the door and shit. But now Cyber Monday and online shopping really just kind of deaded the mood of Black Friday. It's not the fucking same. It's not. But yeah, we went and got some stuff. We were the first ones in and we were out. And now I'm inside because I got to get ready for the week and stuff. And Skilly said, I used to spend the night in Walmart for a TV and eat a Snickers in line.
You know.
That's crazy. That's insane. For a Snickers. I mean, shit. I mean, for that TV. You know, to save those few bucks, I remember like when people used to camp out in GameStop for that midnight launch of like Halo and Call of Duty. Those days used to be a lot of fun. Now people don't do that shit no more. Nobody really, I think a few people still do. But nobody's really camping out in front of stores anymore like that because you can go buy it online, save gas, save time. Yeah. You said I wouldn't pay for the Snickers. I'd just walk over, grab it, and eat it, and no one knew. I mean, because everybody's paying attention to the line. Nobody pays attention to the Snickers. Like, okay, take one and walk away. What are they going to do? Grand larceny charge?
I'm going to pop you.
But in any case, no, you said I missed Black Friday at Toys R Us.
Oh my gosh, is that my sister?
Yes, you want to join in on the chat? Or you want to say hello? Please don't trip over my shit.
Hi, sister.
She said hi. What do you want,
I miss you.
What do you want, light-skinned lady?
I don't hear her. Oh, there she is.
She's in the chat.
Oh, she's not on live.
No, well, you can go on the chat if you want. What the hell are you doing? This is not your show. This is not Daily Mind and wife and friends and shit.
Tell them about how
that feels good, though.
I washed your beard.
Yes, my wife washed my beard. I'm telling you right now, if you grow a beard, have someone wash your beard. Don't just have anybody wash your beard because that's kind of weird. But if you have like a girlfriend or somebody, a partner to wash your beard, trust me, Thomas, I know your wife got to be washing your beard. It's something of that. I don't know, something soothing about when somebody else wash your beard and put the oils and all that shit. I can't. That's the one thing I'm looking forward to when I get out is a fucking beard. it is a rite of passage when you leave the military, however you leave it, right? Retire, whatever. It's a rite of passage to grow a beard out, right? That's just the veteran status. That's better than getting an ETS award. You said you were trying to get the Stir mustache. Please don't. That man looked like a fucking state trooper. That is a state trooper mustache he had. Don't get that shit. That's gonna look crazy on you. You're gonna look like fucking Frito Bandito by the time you fucking grow that mustache out. You're gonna look crazy. Oh, Skinless was making fun of the way you said hi, sister. Hi, sister. It's a New York thing. All right, so today I'm not jelly. Shut up. Anyway, so are you gonna go watch a show or what? You're gonna sit here and bother me?
Let's put it up.
She want to be part of the show so bad, but she's never on the fucking show. She's always the background noise to the show, and I guess that's what people like, because everybody's like, you know, your wife is so funny behind the scenes when she's cursing me out and shit. Shh, relax. You're too loud. Anyway, you're loud as fuck right now. You really are kind of loud, though. Anyway, today's topic. Nana, come get your sister. Today, we're going to take a trip back in history. Now, today's episode is inspired by what, I know marriage, right? They didn't say this part on the fucking paperwork at all. So, but today's topic, me being a big history buff, in the next few days, can anybody tell me what anniversary is coming up in the next couple of days, depending on where you are? Today is the 12th, right over here, 12th. In a couple of days, 2-3 days or so, it's a big anniversary. You said, and then you said, no return. She's your problem now. Can you imagine if marriage came with a receipt that after like 90 days, if the shit don't work, I mean, you could nullify a marriage, right? No strings attached, no penalties, whatever. I think that's kind of like a return policy, but I think we're past that right now. But no, the anniversary that is coming up, which inspired this episode, is the sinking of the Titanic. That's what we're going to talk about today. Because for some reason, and yes, I guess you're right. It is cheaper to keep her because divorce is fucking expensive.
Yeah, it's cheaper to keep her, motherfucker.
But it comes with a cost to keep. But, you mean the Olympic? No, the Olympia. No, we're talking about the Titanic, the sister boat, the most famous, not the Olympia. We're going to talk about the Titanic. Okay. I am a big fan of the Titanic, and it started from when the Leonardo DiCaprio movie came out back in 1997. You said 4/12, right? Well, it is right now. No, it hit the iceberg on April 14th, but I believe it officially sunk on April 15th overnight. You said that's what they want you to think. And that's where we're on this episode of Conspiracies. I bet you heard that one where they switched ships in order for this shit to happen, which is bizarre in itself. But before we get into the conspiracies, because today we're going to talk the conspiracies behind the sinking. There's like 10 of these top conspiracies on how the Titanic sunk. Why did it sink? There's even one theory that says the Titanic never even happened. And there's one that says that it was an insurance scheme. I mean, we can go on and on because there was some pretty interesting figures on that ship. If you never heard of John Jacob Astor, he was definitely a very wealthy man on that ship. You said Skinless, so scary when you think about the sinking. Wasn't like the movie. It was complete darkness. Yeah. Don't get it twisted. Those lights did not light that bright on the Titanic. It did not. That was a coal-powered ship with very dim lighting. It was not as bright as you've seen in the James Cameron film. It was pretty fucking dim. And when those lights went out, it was even more dim because the moon was not out that night, I believe. No, it's not Astor. His name was Astor. Astor. John Jacob Astor. But no, I saw a picture recently, Skinless, where they showed the Titanic sinking with the movie lights, you know, with the movie effects, and how it really would have looked when it sunk, and it was not as bright as you think. Okay, so we're going to go over first 25 interesting facts about the Titanic, because this ship was once named the unsinkable ship because they thought the way the ship was built, there'd be no way in hell that this ship can sink. But who the fuck would have thought it hit an iceberg anyway? And who the fuck would have thought an iceberg could even sink a ship? I don't know if an iceberg can sink today's modern ships. I think they could sink very easily. They made a little bit lighter. The Titanic was made of iron. It wasn't steel. But if it was made in steel, it'd be a lot heavier. But I'm pretty sure that fucking iceberg wouldn't have not taken it out. Now, Skillet, you said really cool they made the horn sound again after pulling it out the ocean. What? They made the horn sound again. Oh, wait, pulled what out of the ocean? They pulled the horn of the Titanic out the ocean? Or are you telling me they pulled the whole ship out? Because that's never going to fucking happen. But yeah, we're going to go over some facts about the Titanic, all right? Now, yeah, just the horn. Oh, I didn't even know they pulled the horn out because I think if I'm not mistaken, it was around 1985 they actually went down there and actually seen the ship. Now then he said, I thought it was still in the bottom of the ocean in 2 pieces. Yes, it's still down there. Ask the guys in that submersible. Oh, that's right, they're gone because they were stupid enough to go down there. But that's fucking sad. Now, Tommy said, have I ever been to the museum? It's in Tennessee. Yes, I have. In fact, we stumbled upon this shit by accident because we were in Gatlinburg. And we came across the Titanic Museum where they made like a half section of a replica of the Titanic, which I thought was pretty dope. And when you go in there, it had the cool exhibits and effects. We went a few years ago when we were in Tennessee. That shit was pretty dope. I liked it. I was like super excited. We seen it driving. And I was like, we got to go there. We got to go there. Because, I'm a big Titanic fan. And we went there. The shit was really, really nice. If you and Krista have not been there, recommend that you both go there. Especially if you guys are like history buffs or you just like the Titanic or just something to get out and learn some shit. I highly recommend you go there. Yep, I know exactly what museum you're talking about. And Skilly said, did you put your hand in the water, stimulated the water temperature that day? I think they had something like that. That shit was cold. I don't give a fuck what anybody said. What you seen in that movie may have been a bit exaggerated, but there was no doubt that water was fucking cold. I mean, it was in the North Atlantic in April. Yeah, that shit was cold as fuck. All right, so I found a website called the Kontiki.com. They wrote an article. They wrote some article back last May. 25 interesting facts about the RMS Titanic. Now, one thing you got to learn is that the manufacturer of the Titanic is still making ships today, Harland and Wolff. Now, when I was in Ireland, I didn't get a chance to go to Belfast, where the ship was manufactured. I only went to Dublin, which was further south. But I did say the next time I go to Ireland, I will go visit Harland and Wolff because the dry dock is still there where they built the ship, but it doesn't look the same, obviously, right? It's more modern. It's not as busy looking. But the ship maker, Harland and Wolff, still exists to this day. Okay, so I'm not going to read the opening scene. I'm just going to go right into the facts. Now, everybody calls the ship the Titanic, but it's really the RMS Titanic. And I never knew what the fuck RMS stood for. But now I just found out quite literally what that shit stands for. And Skilly said, I'll never go on a cruise ship. I would go on a cruise ship. My wife and I, we were talking about cruise ships. We should go on a cruise ship.
Do the cruise
to the Caribbean?
No, do the cruise and do a weekend cruise.
A weekend cruise. At least there ain't no fucking icebergs in the Caribbean. At least I don't think so. But there's the Bermuda Triangle. That shit is a mystery in itself. I don't think it's called that, Skinless. That's not what the fucking RMS stand for. The first fact, RMS stands for Royal Mail Steamer. It says Titanic's full name was the Royal Mail Steamer Titanic, with RMS standing for Royal Mail Steamer. Now, this title was only given to ships that carried mail under contract with the British Royal Mail. So yes, the Titanic was basically a very glamorous postal worker. And you were nowhere near close. That is not even close to what the fuck RMS stands for. That's insane. No, I don't even want to read it because I feel like if I read it, I'm cooked. But yes, the Titanic was originally a ship that carried mail. Can you imagine building this glamorous fucking ship just so it could be a mail carrier? Like, it was at the time, I think, the biggest ship in the world. So that's a lot of fucking mail for that shit to carry. Thank God we don't get mail by ships anymore. It'd take forever to get the PS5. All right, number 2. The Titanic took 26 months to build. Only 2 years, people. Imagine that. But if you've seen pictures of the dry dock where they were building the ship, I thought it was less than 2 years, but it took I thought it was more than 2 years. But it took 26 months to build. They had so many people building this ship. It said it was the largest passenger ship in the world back then. No wonder it took over 2 years to build. But Harland and Wolff in Belfast, Ireland, thousands of workers poured their time into building it. You said it should have taken longer. And you know what, Nana? It probably should have, because there was one flaw to the ship, and it was the lack of lifeboats. Nowadays, ever since the Titanic sunk, a worldwide mandate from ship manufacturers called for enough lifeboats for everybody. All right, they only made lifeboats for the rich. They didn't, and women and children. They didn't make enough lifeboats for second and third class. Fuck no. But then again, they didn't think the ship was gonna sink, so they didn't give a fuck. They was like, yo, we just gonna make enough, right? Maybe they thought in their head like, okay, if this ship is sinking or there's an emergency, we'll get some of the richer people off and put them in the boat, and then maybe a nearby ship can get everybody else. Wrong. But yes, Belfast, Harlan, and Wolff took 26 months to build this ship. That's impressive. That means everybody in Belfast was fucking employed, all right? Because damn near the whole city was building this ship. Skilly said, really think ice sunk the ship, though? I think to a degree. Now, I did hear one theory. I'm not going to read the theories yet, but I heard one theory. There's a few of them that debunk the whole ice theory, right? Now, you got to think, icebergs can be very fucking hard. I mean, it's a big rock of ice. It's basically like almost the equivalent of crashing into a fucking mountain or a big-ass rock, you know? I mean, I still think about it. And then you said were there rumors about the torpedo? Yes. That's one of the theories. I think that's on the list coming up. About the German U-boat submarine. That there was rumor because I think around that time World War I was just kicking up. Actually, no, World War I didn't kick up yet. That would be 2 years later, 1914, I believe. But there is a rumor that there was a U-boat that might have sunk this ship. Yeah, I think U-boats were coming. I think they were coming around that time. I think I could be wrong, but I'm gonna get into it. I think U-boats didn't really come around. Now that I think about it, World War II, but they might have already been some sort of vague type, maybe around that time. But I'm gonna find out. All right, number 3. It took 26 months to build and in less than 3 hours to sink. Imagine all that fucking work just for this shit to sink in 2 hours and 40 minutes. That has got to be the most devastating thing you could ever think of. That big ass ship took 2 hours and 40 minutes to sink. Meanwhile, as depicted in the movie, the nearest ship was 4 hours away. So these fucking people were doomed from the start. There was no other ship for miles. They sat there and sent Morse codes to every ship surrounding. Now, I don't know how far the Morse codes went back in the day because they were like radio transmitted Morse codes. But the nearest ship was like 3-4 hours away. Skillings, you said, who timed the sink? Some dude with a stopwatch or what? You got to remember, there were survivors. There was probably surviving crew members. And there's people that kind of gave a tale to how long it took for the shit to sink. And Thomas hit me up with the history fact. You said on December 14th, 1906, the first commissioned German U-boat. Well, there you go, Skinless. Motherfuckers were already floating, sending torpedoes in the water. So, and that was, and the Titanic sunk 2 years before World War I started. I don't know why would they want to like sink the Titanic, but man, if it was a German U-boat, you said, I Googled it. I'm not that smart. Hey, look, I graduated from Google University. I use that motherfucker every day. I have a doctorate in Google searches. So don't worry. All I do on my free time sometimes is look up shit on Google. That's why I'm so used to, I have so much useless facts. And I love history because I'm always constantly Googling shit. But yes, people, all it took was 2 hours and 40 minutes. The collision caused a 300-foot long gash in the hull, which was enough to doom even the mightiest of ships. Yes.
2 for the price of 1.
What is this? Babe, you know I'm on the show.
Yeah,
what are you showing me? What is this?
He mentioned it. You mentioned it, right?
Yeah. What is that?
So look.
Oh.
2.
Save that.
Yeah, it's from October 18th to October 29th.
Oh, okay. We need to book stamp that. Okay.
Yeah.
Giving me hints and clues.
Yeah.
Yes, Thomas, rainbow bagels. No, they don't sell those here.
But that's cool. The second.
Damn.
So it's basically one person because I travel for free. Second guest sales.
That's
free.
a whole package, though.
Yeah, free. Get all for a limited open bar, specialty dining, excursion credits, Wi-Fi package.
Okay, look, we'll talk about it.
Cool.
We'll talk about it later.
Anniversary.
I got 2 hours and 40 minutes. All right, the ship is gonna sink. All right, so a 300-foot gash this iceberg caused, which was enough water to sink this motherfucking house. No, you said tell her if it's not about the Titanic to wait her turn. Huh? Nobody want to hear about that shit.
It's the Titanic.
No, that trust me. What she just showed me has nothing to do with the Titanic. But
it's the same size.
It's not the same size. What are you talking about? Get out of here.
It's the same size as it.
What? What's the same size as that of the Titanic? What is it?
The Norwegian ship.
Go over there. You're pissing me off and other people in attendance. All right, number 4. It cost $7.5 million to build this, which is $200 million to build this ship today. Now, Skinless, you said my nickname in high school was Gigantic. You can guess why. Not taking a guess why, but it cost $7.5 million to build this ship. And this doesn't even include the champagne budget. Now, the champagne budget, the food budget, was not included in the manufacturing of this ship. The White Star Line spared no expense in catering what they marketed as the pinnacle of luxury and engineering. There is no doubt that this ship was the most overly engineered, most advanced ship ever made for its time. I mean, everything was almost I wouldn't say computerized, but automated. A lot of shit was automated on this ship. This ship had innovations that no one has ever seen before. This ship should have never sunk. Like, this ship was just too fucking perfect. And Skilly said, really think some dude gave his life for some girl he just met? You know what? Although the Leonardo DiCaprio story may not be necessarily true, I'm pretty sure some dude probably did give his life away for some coochie. I don't know on that ship, all right? I was surprised to even see an Asian person in the movie on that ship. And there was 2
men that gave their lives up for 2 women with kids.
I mean, I'm not giving up my spot on the fucking lifeboat for no kids. Like, do you remember the scene in Titanic where Rose's boyfriend Cal, he tried to get on the fucking lifeboat with a little girl, although it said women and children. But of course he threw some money or whatever, and it's fucking crazy. All right, number 5. At the launch of the ship, around 100,000 people attended the launch on this ship. It says the launch of the Titanic was a big deal. In 1911, approximately 100,000 people gathered to watch the ship slide into the water for the first time. Yes, Billy Zane. That motherfucker. Hartley. Yeah, Calvin Hartley. That was his name in the movie. That motherfucker was just slime. He was a slimy motherfucker. He was going to really get on the ship with the little child that said it was his daughter. Now, the Titanic, you said, where was it going? It was supposed to go to New York. So the idea, so the ship did make stops. It don't show it in the movie, but it made a few stops along the way. I think it went to England. It took off from England. It went to Ireland. It made a few stops before hitting the Atlantic. It was supposed to go to New York City. The ship's owner, I believe his name was J. Bruce Ismay, he ordered the captain, and this was also depicted in the movie. He wanted to beat the headlines. He wanted to get there early and surprise everyone. So he told the captain to speed the ship up, which did no justice in trying to stop the ship from hitting the icebergs. This ship was already like full steam. Chucho, what's going on, man? Welcome. You said that iceberg was lucky I wasn't on the ship. And Chucho, what the fuck would you have done to the iceberg, right? Would you have like fucking cursed it out or thrown like something at it? And Skilly just said, I think the Taliban sunk the ship. That is the most absurd conspiracy theory I have ever heard. I can make up some weird shit, but that's the most absurd. The fucking Taliban sunk the Titanic. If I said that to somebody would actually believe it. Or if somebody made an AI of it, they probably would believe it. An iceberg made of fucking sand. Can you imagine that shit sinking the damn ship? Come on now. All right, number 6. Jucho, you said you have some ideas. Okay. Your idea on stopping the Titanic from hitting the thing. What the fuck, Skinless? Wow. I can't imagine that. Your theories are more absurd than the ship hitting the iceberg in the first place. All right, number 6. This was a major problem, and this changed the shipping industry forever. The Titanic only had 20 lifeboats. Now, this fact about the Titanic is a bit debated, but rumor has it that there were only 20 lifeboats, enough for only about 1/3 of the people aboard. Because again, those lifeboats were not meant for the people in steerage. Those lifeboats were meant for the rich people to get their asses off the ship. People that paid first class, women and children. 20 lifeboats is not enough. Nowadays, There has to be enough lifeboats for every single occupant. They have to engineer the lifeboats to hold a certain amount of people in contrast to how many people are on the ship. So if each lifeboat, I don't know, held 75 people, there has to be enough to where there's enough for everybody, because they can't go over capacity. If the ship was engineered to carry 2,000 people, not one more can go over that, because they have to make sure that enough people to be equal to how many lifeboats is available.
And
but yes,
you have to count if it's a weight limit. You have to count. You have to take into consideration the luggage.
well, see, at the time and during the Titanic sinking, nobody was allowed to take luggage. They discouraged for the sake of space and weight. Don't take what the fuck you needed, and that was it. Don't bring your luggage. Leave all that shit behind you. There was no saving that. And Skilly, she said, bro, think one day cruise ships will be like the Fifth Element?
Maybe
Bro, we can't even get cars flying. How the fuck are we going to get a whole ship in the air? Maybe someday. Maybe someday. I don't know. But this next fact, number 7, Skinless, you asked me where this ship was going. It was going to New York City. Now, number 7, the Titanic's maiden voyage was from Southampton, UK to New York City. Now, the RMS Titanic's voyage route from Southampton, UK to New York City, it also stopped in Queenstown and Ireland along the way for its final port of call. So, yes, it did make a few stops, but it did not show that in the Titanic movie. It just basically showed it taking off from England, but it didn't show it making any other stops. Number 8, the iceberg collision happened on the 14th of April. Yes, but it sunk on the 15th officially after midnight. Now, Skilly said, hold up, the Titanic wasn't even American? No, man. The ship was made in Ireland. It was ran by the British, the White Star Line cruise lines. All right, White Star was a company that ran luxury cruise lines and mail routes. The Titanic was never American. It was made completely in Ireland and England, put it all together. It was very much a European type ship. But late on the night of April 14th, the Titanic struck an iceberg in the North Atlantic. The ship officially sank in the early hours of April 15th, sealing its place in history. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look up the exact time the ship hit the iceberg, and then I'm going to get some ice cubes and pour it on my wife while she sleeps, so she can see what that ship feels like on her birthday. I think she's good with that. But yeah, the Titanic was not American. It was supposed to head to America, and the idea... Hey, hon, would you be mad if I did that? Hold on, let me find out what time the ship hit the iceberg, so I know to get the icebergs ready, the ice cubes ready for you. Hold on, let me see. I'm actually gonna Google this shit real quick. Yeah, hold on one second. What time did the Titanic hit the iceberg? So here's a quick little fact. The Titanic hit the iceberg around 11:40 p.m. So that means on her birthday, I'm gonna take the whole fucking tray of ice cubes and I'm just gonna pour it on her. So it said that the Titanic struck the iceberg at approximately 11:40 p.m. the ship's time on April 14th, 1912. The collision occurred in the North Atlantic, with the ship sinking less than 3 hours. Yeah. So I think by the time the ship sunk, let me see. Oh, some other facts too. So here's the funny part. And I'm reading this. There's some facts that you said sink on her Titanic. I hopefully plan on doing that. Ain't gonna be no lifeboats on this journey. So the boat, this is so fucked up. I'm so sorry, Titanic passengers. This is fucked up. So the ship hit at 11:40, April 14th, right? They spotted the fucking iceberg at 11:39. Now, how much time do you think you have by the time you spot this? Now, in the movie, if you guys remember the movie, and I love the sequence from when the spotter spotted the iceberg, leading all the way down to the control room, to the boiler room. That whole process is one of the dopest process scenes in the movie that we seem to overlook, because the panic and the rush to get the boilers closed, to slow the fucking propellers down, to slow the ship down, and to steer it out of the way. Mind you, it's doing 20 knots. That's fucking fast for a ship. Wasn't enough time to slow this bitch down. It wasn't enough time to steer this thing. There was no computer processing controls to move this thing. Everything was fucking manual. Skilly said, use your U-boat and your little torpedo. It's not little, okay? So the iceberg was spotted by lookouts at 11:39, leaving only about 1 minute before impact. What the fuck were they doing up there? Now, if you remember the lookouts, they're up on the pole in that little bucket. They're looking from outside. It's cold as shit up there. It's dark, though, because the Titanic really didn't have headlights. So it's pretty fucking dark, and they can't see this shit. Now, Nana, you said didn't the parts sticking out of the water looking smaller than underneath? Yes. Icebergs are fucking massive. When you look at an iceberg, you see the peak when it's sticking out of the water, but under it, it's a large mass of ice. I'm talking big, could be even bigger than the ship itself. You're only seeing the peak of it. So when the spotters spotted it, it was already too late. In the movie, though, it took a couple of minutes for it to hit the iceberg, but in reality, by the time they looked, the ship was already right there. It was too late to even steer it. So in the movie, they kind of had to fantasize it, fictionalize it, show the whole sequence. But let me be honest with you. By the time they started closing the dampers and shit, it was already too late. There was no way you could have stopped that ship from hitting the fucking iceberg. Hey, Mahal, what's going on? I got Mahal in the show. What's up, man? Good morning to you. Good evening. We're talking about the Titanic, going over some facts, and then we're going to go over some conspiracies about the sinking of the Titanic. It's one of my favorite subjects of study in engineering and history because it's something that should have been fucking avoided in the first place. All right, so the time zone, the ship was operating on local time, which was ahead of New York's time. And the duration, the ship was traveling at about 20 knots when it grazed the iceberg on the starboard side. So it was already going too damn fast to begin with, because remember, J. Bruce Ismay wanted that ship to show up in New York hours before anybody in the press could even know that it was even there. And then he said, how many miles away from land were they? I'm going to look that up as well. And Skinless, you said, why were the bros playing music while people were passing away? So the idea of playing the music was to keep the calm, because they knew that everybody was fucked, right? But what better way to try to, like, lower the chaos and the panic of what was going on that ship than to play some soothing fucking elevator music? That was just the best way to go about it. They were told to just keep playing, keep playing, keep playing. They're trying to keep everybody as calm as possible. Now, and yeah, obviously that didn't work. Shit, they should have fucking played some Jay-Z. Maybe that would have fucking worked. But no, how far was this ship from land? So let me see. How far was the Titanic from the iceberg when it sank? Hold on. From land. So apparently, I think when it elevator music is so cheesy, it really is. Okay, so it was about 400 miles away from Newfoundland, Canada. 400 miles, which would put it at the equivalent of at least 8 hours away from land. So anybody that even wanted to try to come save the ship, it was already too late. Now, Mahal, you said, who was the millionaire who had the submersible submarine? Several people was unalive. I forgot who it was, but that was the most pointless unaliving ever. There was no point for you to go down there and see the Titanic. You couldn't pay me enough money to do that shit. I don't need to see the Titanic down there. I know it's down there. I've seen the movie. It's down there. You said, were there Coast Guard? I don't think the Coast Guard existed yet in some capacity, and they were way too far off anyway to even reach the Titanic. If you look at it on the map, they were 400 miles away from Newfoundland, Canada. No Coast Guard would have even reached them on time to even make it to go rescue them. So they had to rely on Morse code, sending radio signals to nearby ships, and the closest ship was 4 hours away. It took 2 hours and 40 minutes to sink. The ship was doomed from the start. So it gave the coordinates. It said the nearest landmass was Newfoundland, Canada, and at the time of the sinking, the ship was roughly, this is how close the ship was to New York, 1,250 miles from New York. Yep, its intended destination. That's how far it was from its destination. All they had to do was slow the fuck down. But they wanted to get the ship there early or at nighttime because it was expected to get there during the day. But they wanted to get there a little bit early, surprise everybody with this big ship. Here's a fun fact, though, right? If you ever seen Ghostbusters 2, and I just now realized this, towards the end of the movie where that ghost ship, the Titanic, showed up, it showed up at night in that movie. Yes, it showed up at night. Because in reality, that's what they wanted the ship to do in the Ghostbusters movie. It was supposed to show up at night. So in the movie, it did just that. And yes, it was fueled by steam, powered by coal. There was no diesel fuel at the time yet. We wouldn't see something like that, perhaps around maybe World War II. But it was definitely a steamed powered ship. So it had to carry tons and tons of coal to burn the boilers to power the ship, to electrify the ship, everything, get the heat on the ship. I mean, this ship was massive. It had so many fucking boilers. It was insane. And right now, the Titanic rests at about 12,600 feet. And it was only 1,250 feet away from New York. No, not like the juice, like coal, like kind of like charcoal, but not charcoal. Come on, man. And it was 900 miles from Boston and over 1,000 miles from New York. That's sad. And again, all they had to do was slow the fuck down. They were going too fast. Now, Mahal, you said, I went to the Maritime Museum in Bermuda. They had parts from the Titanic. Yeah, when they found the Titanic back in the 1980s, they were salvaging what they could get from the Titanic, and they started putting some of the displays in various museums and places around the world, right? It still sits there. It's literally split in half. It's deteriorating as we speak. I don't think people are going down there getting shit no more. You said, Mikey. Oh, Mikey, what's going on? You said UFC Fight Night on right now. How are you not enjoying it? Because I don't watch that shit. I'm talking about the Titanic. All right, so number 8, the iceberg collision happened on the 14th of April. Yep, we know that. It lies now, number 9. It's 2.5 miles deep underwater. So imagine being in that submersible going 2 miles into the ocean. Who thought this shit was a good idea to begin with? No, you said still say Jack could have fit that one piece of wood with Rose. He passed away unnecessarily. Yes, they have proven that Jack and Rose could have sat on that piece of wood and both survived. She was a stingy bitch. She could have moved over and let Jack lay on this board. How is there not enough space? Come on, Rose. I don't get that. I never understood that shit. They had enough space. Whatever, right? Number 10, more than 1,500 lives were lost. And Skinless, you said it's because his pecker was really small from the cold and didn't want her to see it, so he just passed away. What the fuck is wrong with you? What? That's as crazy as a theory as that may be. I believe it. Maybe Jack Dawson didn't want to get on the board because his shit was so shrunk and shriveled from the cold. But remember, he smashed that night. Okay, so he didn't have much to prove. He already proved enough, right? He smashed Rose in the car. I don't know. Thomas, you said you should do a show on conspiracy theories about oceans. There's a lot of shit I don't trust about the ocean that is... I don't know. We do need to do one on oceans. I could put that in the queue. I was even thinking about celebrity conspiracy theories, like celebrity passings or just celebrities in general. We might be getting into some conspiracy episodes. Skinless, you said, oh, dude, the scene with her hand on the car window wasn't her, wasn't the director's hand. Ew. I would hope that wasn't James Cameron's hand. I'm hoping maybe that might have been like a body double's hand. I don't know. But God, if that's James Cameron's hand, I will be disgusted. No, that is not James Cameron's hand. Don't tell me that. That was his hand on the car. Don't tell me that. Mikey, you said, I don't know how she gets all these cruise tickets, but every time she wants me to go. I'm assuming your mom. I don't know. You should probably take a cruise. There's no icebergs in the Caribbean. I hope not. You said it was him because he wanted the ring thing. No, don't say that. And you said, oh, Mikey, you said your cousin wants you to go on a cruise. Then go on a cruise, man. I've never been on a cruise. My wife and I, we've been talking about going on a cruise for a long ass time. We're definitely going to look into it. But I swear to God, I'm going to keep looking out for icebergs. Let me tell you something. If you go on a cruise in the Caribbean, I dare anybody to yell out iceberg dead ahead. You will scare the fuck out of everybody. Because first off, people are going to be in a panic. But then they're going to realize they're near fucking Bermuda. Where's the iceberg at? That would be my stupid ass. Iceberg dead ahead. I'm getting kicked off that ship so fucking fast. So fast. Okay, Nana, you said there's pirates. I don't think there's pirates anywhere near the Bermuda, but I would scream that I saw Jack Sparrow in the fucking dining area, and I think that would get me maybe in a little bit of trouble, because believe it or not, the cruise ships do have their own police. So, yeah. And Mahal, you said the Daily Mind cruise tour. Oh, that'd be fucking hilarious. I don't know what the hell I'd be touring, but I'll just be making jokes along the way as I give you guys this extravagant tour of God knows what the fuck I'm giving a tour for, but who knows? It could be in the works. And then you said the Bermuda Triangle. Now that is something that needs to be talked about on this show. The Bermuda Triangle. There's been ships apparently that disappeared in the area. There's been planes that disappeared in the area. If there's anything, Thomas, we need to talk about with oceans, it's definitely the Bermuda Triangle. And Mike, you said you should never go on a cruise. I think I should go on a cruise, man. That's the one thing you don't hear very much getting into any accidents. I want you guys, speaking of, before I continue, there's a documentary called The Poop Cruise. All right, this is a dead-ass, serious documentary. My wife and I, we caught a story about it, and it was where a ship got stranded. No power, no nothing. So you can imagine all the toilets and electronics, nothing worked. So toilets got clogged up. It was a shitty mess, no pun intended. But look up The Poop Cruise. I swear to God, it is a real documentary that you can watch about this cruise ship. Yeah, look it up. All right, but number 10, you said, yeah, I'm gonna pass on that one. No, it's not what you think, man. You're not gonna see like it's smeared on a wall. No. Just give it a look-see. All right, number 10, more than 1,500 lives were lost. Out of the 2,208 people on board of the Titanic, 1,503 lost their lives, to include 815 passengers and 688 crew members. And many more lives were lost when they were building it, too. No wonder it's one of the deadliest peacetime maritime disasters in history. Yes, people, building the ship was more dangerous than being on the ship itself. A lot of people at Belfast building the ship lost their lives. But again, they didn't have like an OSHA. There was no safety standards. Dudes will be walking across catwalks with no equipment. Workers would get burned. They'll get like mesothelioma, because remember, back in the day, dealing with all the dust and the metals and shit, they didn't know what the hell they were even breathing in. You said Titanic has to be a bad word for TikTok. It's not. And you said do a show about Point Nemo too. Point Nemo. You gotta fill me in on that. I've never heard that, but I bet it has something to do with a ship or some water. All right, so number 11, the ship had next level amenities. The Titanic wasn't just a ship, it was essentially a floating palace. It came with a heated swimming pool, squash courts, a gym, Turkish baths, and even a barbershop. And there were 5 kitchens, 60 chefs preparing food from first class to third class steerage. That's the shit they didn't show you in the movie, but then that'd be too much shit to show you. You said heated swimming pool, so no hot tub. They had a Turkish bath. If you ever seen a Turkish bath,
I'll give you a Turkish bath.
Ew, it's like a sauna. It's a sauna. And then you said it's at a point in the ocean that isn't close to any land, but it's closest to satellites. Ooh. Yeah, we might have to touch up on that, but we should do a show on the Bermuda Triangle. That's an area I think that needs to be a little bit studied. All right, so number 12. But if you were in third class, you had to share 2 bathtubs. One of the wildest facts about the Titanic, the ship, the epitome of luxury, had only 2 bathtubs for 700 people in third class. That is all the way disgusting. They didn't show you that shit in the movie. Hell no, they didn't, because they reserved all the showers and shit for first class. That goes to show that the poor has always been treated as poor. Imagine 2 bathtubs for 700 people. Who's cleaning this? Who is cleaning this? That is just, golly. You have to wait online for this shit. Some people probably didn't even shower. You said like showering at Coachella. Well, shit, it was, if you want to think about it, that was like a floating Coachella, if you think about it. Skillers, you said, a show you're on your love triangle. What love triangle? Hell no. And Chucho, you said you might as well stay home at that point. Well, think about it like this. It was the cheapest way. How much can a ticket at third class cost? Probably not that much money. To go to New York? Start a whole new life? Why not? Who the fuck thought the ship was going to sink anyway? Number 13. Number 13, the water was 2 degrees Celsius when the Titanic sank. The freezing 2 degrees Celsius waters of the Atlantic made survival nearly impossible for those who ended up in the sea. Dude. Hypothermia would have set within 15 minutes as soon as you touch that water.
Dude.
Yes.
Remember when we went to the Titanic Museum in
they let you touch the water?
Yeah, remember when we touched the water?
Mm-hmm.
And how cold it was?
Yeah, I remember that. That's what Thomas was telling us about, because he was
so cool.
It was cold. They do have like the little pool where you could touch the water at the Titanic Museum in Tennessee to simulate how cold that shit was. Yeah, nobody would have survived that. And Skilly said they could have just flown Delta. Man, the Wright brothers barely made it into the air at the time. How the fuck they flying anywhere? You said, dude, turn to the side again. I hope you're not getting that dent in your head. Nah, I think it's just the lighting, bro. It's about that side dent when you get old. I'm getting old, man. And Mikey, you said, man, I would have given my life for these women today if the Titanic was to happen today. Would you have really, though? Would you have really given your seat for a woman on the Titanic today? And Mahal, I was definitely not in the movie Boat Trip. Yo. Oh, you said the dent you get from headphones. Well, no, because, these headphones aren't really that tight on my head. They're really cheap headphones. They're not really that tight. Okay, here's a fun fact. You guys remember the chef that was drinking when the ship went up in the movie Titanic? That was a real guy. Yes, people, think James Cameron Titanic movie, when the ship's bow was in the air, or the stern, whichever side of the ship was in the air in the back, the one drunken chef that was sitting there drinking as the ship went down, that was a real person. His name was Charles Jofflin. Charles Jofflin survived thanks to his bottle of whiskey. That guy actually survived because the whiskey kept him warm and alive while he was in the fucking water. It says the ship's chief baker, Charles Jofflin, reportedly drank so much whiskey that it helped him survive the icy water longer than most. Science, luck, liquid insulation, you decide. Yes, that was a real guy that actually fucking... I did not know that. I just thought that was a piece of comedic effect that they added to the movie with when Jack and Rose was holding on to the back of the ship and it was going down. Like, that guy actually did fucking survive. That was a real dude. How the fuck they even found that out for them to put it in the movie? So even though the storyline is pretty fictionalized, there are characters and things that happen in that movie that is absolutely true. I'd never known that. I thought that was the funniest part, that he just went down with the ship and he survived. Mind you, though, as the part of the ship went down, it's sucking everybody down into the bottom of the water. This dude survived that shit. Yes, when that last piece of the ship went down, it's sucking a lot of people down there with it. You know what's a funny joke I heard about the Titanic? Oh my God. That the lobsters that they caught to cook on the Titanic was once again freed when the fucking ship went back in the water. I heard somebody say some shit like that and I completely fucking lost it. I lost it. It's a terrible joke, but if you think about it, all the seafood that's on the Titanic was once again released back into the water. Skinless, you said, if I needed a reason to be a raging alcoholic, again, this is it. Yes, but it's been proven that drinking in cold weather does help you stay warm and alive. Yes, it's no secret, but I just didn't think that that guy was based on a real person that actually, and survived. You said, man, nobody was thinking about no lobsters. You're right, though, but think about it. Like, all that seafood went right back in the fucking water, dude. That is insane. Number 15, there was a lot of booze on board the Titanic. They really didn't skimp on the alcohol on the Titanic. The ship carried 20,000 bottles of beer and stout, 15,000 champagne glasses, 1,500 bottles of wine, and 850 bottles of spirits. And the cargo manifest showed a further 63 cases of champagne, 17 cases of cognac, 70 cases of wine, and 191 cases of spirits. All that fucking sunk to the bottom. All of it. I mean, some of it was obviously consumed for the first couple of days, but whatever was left of all that sunk straight to the bottom. It is sad. Number 16. And, remember, Skinless, you were saying about the musicians that were playing? It's actually true. They really did. It said the band famously played on deck to calm passengers as chaos unfolded. Their final song, some say it was Nearer My God to Thee, was the last song they played on that ship. Just like in the movie, in the 1997 movie, but the truth remains debated. I would have been like, yo, any last request? Yo, I want you to play Fergalicious with the fucking violin before we sing. I got a request. They were just playing, though. Nobody had any requests because people wanted to get the hell off the ship. They just was playing the music enough to where they just kept people as comfortable as possible. But once the lights went out on that ship, all panic just ensued. I have to give it to the engineers and the mechanics down there in the bottom of the ship that tried to keep the lights on as much as possible, because that was their job. Their job was not to leave from down there, because basically the workers were like second, third class steerage passengers. Their job was to keep the electricity on as much as possible. And then you seen in the movie where the one dude, he gets unalive by touching the circuitry that just fucking blew up, and all the lights went out. That was their job, was just to keep the damn lights on. Skilly just said, shit, I'm not staying down there to keep the lights on. Mikey said, I would not give my life in today's world with these women. Nah. But remember, if a man back then, you didn't get a seat in the fucking lifeboat. It was women and children first. And then whatever was left, it was for the men. Nowadays, they can't discriminate. Everybody nowadays get on a lifeboat. But the reason why women and children were first back then, because they were the most vulnerable. Men could kind of fend for themselves. That was the idea. Get the people on the ship that can't fend for themselves. A man can fend for himself. That was just the idea. Number 17, a novel predicted the tragedy. In 1898, 14 years before the disaster, Morgan Robertson wrote the book The Wreck of the Titan, a novel about a massive ship called the Titan that hit an iceberg and sank. Now, hands down, one of the creepiest facts about the Titanic was that somebody already written a book about it. And it actually did happen. Coincidence? Simpsons? Maybe. Now, Skimless, you said they would have been mad when I took a whole boat for myself. Yo, the crazy part was, if you would have taken a lifeboat for yourself, everybody would have capsized your fucking boat. Everybody would have been jumping and swarming because, everybody's in that fight or flight trying to get out of the water and shit like that. You didn't even know if there were sharks or anything because the water was so dark and cold. You didn't know what the fuck was in it. So they would have been jumping on your boat. You would have been capsized, because if you watch other renditions of the Titanic, because many movies were done before, it showed that people were that desperate, climbing on the ship, capsizing the boats and shit like that, because they were either too full and people just wanted to survive. And then number 18, the actress Dorothy Gibson survived and then starred in a movie about the Titanic. Now, isn't that badass? Not only did you survive the Titanic, you starred in a movie about you surviving in the Titanic. You cannot make this up. That reminds me of Audie Murphy, right? Audie Murphy, he was a badass in World War II. Then he starred in a movie about him playing himself in World War II. You said, Skills, I don't think the old lady was a survivor. That old lady, you don't think that old lady was a survivor? Hold on. Let me finish this fact real quick. Silent film actress Dorothy Gibson was one of the survivors. Then just a month later, she starred in Saved from the Titanic, a film based on her real experience. She even wore the same clothes she had during the sinking for that movie. Where the fuck did you find that? Like, where you had time to remember, yeah, I wore this. I'm going to wear the same shit that I survived in for the movie about me surviving in the Titanic sinking. You can't make this shit up. I don't know how I would feel about that. I don't know if I want to be in a movie about some shit that I almost unalived in. And then wearing the same clothes with it. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how anyone would feel about that. Would you guys play in a movie that you damn near almost unalived, portraying yourself in that movie? Can you do it? But I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the last surviving member of the Titanic was, I think they passed away around 1985, I think, or somewhere in the mid 80s, because they did an interview on this old lady sometime around that time, and I think she was like one of the last surviving members, passengers of the Titanic. They interviewed her and she passed away. Number 19, John Jacob Astor. He was the richest person on the boat, and they showed him briefly in the 1997 movie. Was the wealthiest person on board. You said that old lady was stolen valor. I don't think so. American business tycoon John Jacob Astor IV was the richest passenger. He helped his pregnant wife into a lifeboat, but himself did not survive. At the time, he was worth an estimated $87 million back in 1912, which is the equivalent of $2.5 billion today. John Jacob Astor.
John Jacob.
Not John Jangleheimer Schmidt. No. Fucking God. All right. Anyway, check this out. Here's another fun fact. Do you know that Hershey's chocolate almost did not exist because of the Titanic? Think about it. Mikey, you said the Titanic had to be a scary experience. Yes, it's much scarier than what the fuck you saw in the movie because it was not that lit and bright in the movie. I mean, in real life. Now, again, I'm going to say this again. Hershey's chocolate almost did not exist because of the Titanic. And this is why. The inventor of the Hershey's chocolate, Milton Hershey, had booked a spot on the Titanic, but canceled at the last minute due to a business meeting. Being too busy can be a good thing sometimes. So had he been on the Titanic, Milton Hershey would have probably likely not survived the Titanic, which means we would not have Hershey's chocolate. We wouldn't have Hershey's theme park. We wouldn't have any chocolate. It wouldn't be like, we have no Hershey. And you know what? Yes, that's like Seth MacFarlane. Seth MacFarlane almost went on the flight from Boston that ended up one of the 9/11 planes. He missed that flight. Michael Jackson also missed one of the 9/11 flights too. Yes, Michael Jackson, Seth MacFarlane. I think Michael Jackson, though, the reason why he missed it was because
Was it he's sick?
I think he was sick or he was drunk from the night before, or was it Seth MacFarlane? But both of them did miss the 9/11 flights. They did. But yes, Milton Hershey almost was a victim of the Titanic. Yes. Chris, what's going on? You said, let me read that question. Oh, God, my screen is locked. Hold on. It's doing this spinny buzzing thing, and I'm trying to fix it.
You banged the table.
No. What happens is it's kind of like loading, but it's like I don't know what the fuck it's really doing. All right, there we go. I think I got it. I'm trying to, it says my live will end in 4 minutes. I'm trying to verify the inactivity thing, but it's not allowing me to verify it. Hold on, people. Let me see something real quick. I'm trying to see if I can fix this. It says live will end in 4 minutes. So what happens is when there's not a lot of activity, I'm supposed to like scroll this puzzle piece, but it's not allowing me to do it. I'm trying to.
Is it because of the screen?
I don't know. I don't know what the fuck it is. It said, Skillers, you said, you should just open TikTok on your tablet so you can stream in the monitor to show that on the tablet. I should, but I don't even know if I have enough power on here, but it's probably going to end up fucking, let me see something. Hey, do me a favor. Try to tap some likes and shit on the screen. I don't know. TikTok is just so weird. And see what happens, because I don't know. It's saying that there's inactivity during the current live. So if you guys send some likes and some shit, maybe it will fix it. If not, I don't know. It'll cut off and I'll just get back on the live again. Let me see, because I don't know, this shit is so weird. This happened before to me, and I couldn't quite figure out how to fucking deal with it. Let me see, because it's saying it's still going. Let me see, maybe I could exit. I can't quite exit. Give me a second, folks. I'm having a bit of a technical difficulty. I don't get it. It's saying that it's detected inactivity during the live. Complete the verification to continue your live, but the screen is stuck. So the verification to continue your live, but the screen is stuck. So how does that work? Let me see. What the fuck? I just tried to leave, and then now it's like I fucking hate this.
You couldn't leave?
I don't know. It's still doing the whole countdown thing. I don't understand it. It's fucking my shit up though. All right, I'm gonna keep it moving. Number 21, J.P. Morgan. Now you guys know J.P. Morgan Chase. Yeah, I know there's plenty of activity going on, but it's like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. JP Morgan Chase, you guys know the bank, JP Morgan, right? The banking mogul, JP Morgan, also had a first-class ticket on the Titanic, but decided not to go due to health reasons, though others believe he wasn't feeling it. So we wouldn't even have JP Morgan Chase. Not that I really give a shit anyway, because I don't have JP Morgan. But still, Mikey said MJ would have had a private jet back then. Yeah, sure. The Wright brothers would have built him a flying Wright plane, and he would have been perfectly fine with that. No, I don't think it works like that, Mike. Oh, man, hold on. Let me see. I'm going to try something real quick. I'm going to try to see if I get on my tablet. It's like a freaking countdown. Let me see if I can get on. Let me see something. I'm going to try Skinless Chicken Nuggets way of doing this. Let me see. Because it's so weird. It's like the screen is like stuck on it, and it's pissing me off. Hold on, I'm trying to see, because my shit was literally on 1%. And Snow Bunny, what's going on? Hey, lady, what's going on? Welcome. No, I'm back here in Korea. I'm no longer in New York. We just got back to Korea about a couple of days ago. We got back. Pretty decent flight. But nonetheless, no, we're back home. We're back here again. Let me see what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to figure some shit out. because this live is gonna cut off and I'm just gonna get back on another live. This shit is bullshit. Because my screen is stuck. Mikey, you said Michael Jackson music wasn't that good. I mean, he only had 2 good songs. Mikey, you fucking crazy. You're crazy. Michael Jackson only had 2 good songs? Are you nuts?
Did you get on it?
Hold on, I'm trying to figure it out now. This tablet is so laggy. I need a new fucking tablet. I need new everything. Nothing want to work today. So nobody. We're talking about the Titanic. We're going over some facts and figures, and we're talking about we're going to be going over some conspiracies about the Titanic as well. I don't know how big of a fan of the Titanic you are, Mikey. We know you're black, man. But you know what? Here's the thing. All right, I'm gonna see what's going on with this live countdown shit. Matter of fact, hold on. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna log out of the live real quick, and I'm gonna get back on the live. Give me a second. I'm gonna be back on it. I don't know what the fuck's going on. My tablet's acting stupid. Everything is dumb. I don't know what the fuck's going on. But I'm gonna exit. I'll be right back. I'm gonna still be rolling with the audio, but I'll be back because this is bullshit. I'll be back.